Among the answer, the best choice here is going to be D, craniopharyngioma. So for craniopharyngioma, the things that you can remember is the so-called rule of 90. Remember, 90% of them calcify. 90% of the time they present as a solid and cystic component, and often the cystic component is quite large, like in this case. And 90% of the time they will enhance, and often with the enhancing mural nodule or enhancing internal component, as well as enhancing cystic rim. So the thing that they can ask you that's unique about craniopharyngioma on board exam is the bimodal age distribution. So they can occur in kids, like in this case, or they can occur after age of 40 or middle age or older. So for those two types, you can think of adenomatous versus papillary subtype. So for adenomatous type is this classic kids craniopharyngioma. So on board exam or in real life, if I see a pediatric patient comes in with a cellular supracellular mass that's cystic and solid, enhancement with calcification, my top three differential diagnosis is going to be craniopharyngioma number 1, craniopharyngioma number 2, craniopharyngioma number 3. So in adults, though, the craniopharyngioma looks quite different. So they can present basically in the same location, but they tend to present as a solid lesion rather than cystic. If they're cystic component, they tend to be small, not quite large like the kids type. And also calcification is relatively uncommon in adults or in the papillary subtype. So in other words, if I see a lesion in this location that look like a papillary subtype of craniopharyngioma in adults, the first thing I'm thinking about is actually not craniopharyngioma, but rather it's going to be pituitary macroadenoma, which is far more common than papillary craniopharyngioma. So let's look at other choices that do not work as well in this case. So choice A, cystic pituitary macroadenoma. The location is good, but macroadenoma in kids is just not that common compared to in adults. And also amongst the pituitary macroadenoma, cystic macroadenoma is actually not that common. So overall, this is not a good choice for that. So for choice B, hypothalamic glioma, they tend not to be this cystic. They tend to be more solid and homogeneously enhancing. And remember the association with NF1. And also they tend not to be calcified like this. So choice B is not great. For Rathke's cliff cysts, they can be this large, but that's also not very common at all. More typically on board exam and also in real life is an incidental finding of a cyst inside of the pituitary gland. And sometimes they can be bright on T1, dark on T2, or darker on T2 because of high proteinaceous content, but they don't have to. They can be a cystic lesion like dark on T1, bright on T2 also. And Rathke's cliff cyst should never enhance, and they definitely should never have a internal enhancing nodule or a satellite enhancing lesion like this. So this is definitely not Rathke's cliff cyst. For LCH, the common location intracranially is going to be involvement of the pituitary stalk. And LCH tend to be a solidly enhancing lesion, not cystic like this. And also on board exam, hopefully I will show you other classic finding of LCH, such as the one that's the lytic lesion in the skull that has a clean margin without sclerosis, a so-called punch-out lytic lesion. So overall, LCH is also not great for this exam. So D remains the best choice, craniopharyngioma. I hope that was helpful. Good luck on your board exam. Thank you.